You ever just have one of them days, like them days it just seems like they're straight out of hell? Like someone is on an assignment to fluff your day up, just fluff your entire mood up. Well, I just had one of those days, but I got through it. We're going to talk about how we handle these kind of days when they pop up.
The Creator Podcast.
My name is Dion Williams, aka Dion Does, and I truly believe that we were all created in the image of the ultimate creator, and therefore it's in us all to create. And this show aims to help you and I both level up in this four-dimensional game of life so that we can go out and create for good, whether that's for ourselves, our family, the community around us, but all of this a part of a generational vision of a family of creators coming together to be the difference. Creator fam, how's it going? How is your mama? Hope you guys are having a blessed day. Now, man, it took me a while to be able to say I had a blessed day, because I did. But like I said in the intro, man, it was a rough one, right? And for the purpose of this episode, we're going to call it was a bad day. Right? I'm not going to get overly deep and spiritual, and as a creator, no, we don't have bad days. I'm not saying I don't like that approach, but just so you know what I'm talking about with how my day went, it was a bad day, man. It started out rough too, man. Just chaos. Was dead set on getting an early start to work. Nope, that didn't happen. And I'm not going to go into too many details, but it was from every angle, man. Just people letting me down, things not going how they're supposed to. Last minute, dude, ninjas calling. The only time they call, it's annoying, but they barely call. They had to call today. Like, man, tried to play some Madden, got whooped in Madden. Like, it wasn't a good day, man. It just wasn't. And that's pretty rare for me. Like, I have frustrating days. I'll even say there's long days, where like some of the work that I do, I love it. I could do it all day. Doesn't even feel like I'm working. And then there's some days where, depending on what had to get done that day, it feels like work, right? And so I have those, but man, I truly can't remember the last time where I was just like, man, this is a bad day. That's rare for me. But today, it's rare, not impossible. Today was one of those days. And so I want to talk about how I dealt with it and how I think it could help you if you find yourself having a bad day. I think the first thing to remember is that it's a bad day. That's it. Not a bad life. And sometimes we like to make it or blow it up and make it bigger than it really is, when it really just could be a bad day. Okay? And the principle for today is that smooth seas do not make skillful sailors. That's a lot of S's right there. Let's run that back. Smooth seas do not make skillful sailors. And we would love for every day at sea to be smooth, clear skies, no I was about to say no turbulence, no rocky waters, right? But those aren't the days that build character, right? Kind of like it's easy to be nice to everyone when everything is going right in your life. And that'll put you into a false sense of security, because then when a storm hits, you'll lose your dang mind. And so, although we don't pray for these days, and we'd rather that it not go through them, the next time you have a bad day, I want you to pause and try to be in the moment and figure out. Well, first, I just want you to be in the moment and figure out what's going on. Okay? And how I was able to handle this. Well, really, a lot of the stuff during the day was just happening, And I didn't blow up on anyone or cuss no one out. Like, that didn't happen. And if you were watching me, you might not have known. Like, my wife knows. I was talking to her about it. And what sucks for her, which makes me have a bad day, makes my bad day even worse, is she didn't really have that good of a day. And so And so it's just, man, it's just bad. But like I said, from the outside looking in, you probably didn't know. Like nothing, I ain't uppercut no old ladies or nothing like that. But so I was dealing with it throughout the day. There was a lot of pausing and reflecting in the moment and asking, all right, who do you want to be in this very moment? Right? When you're pissed off, someone let you down, said they was going to do something, they didn't. Who do you want to be? But at the end of the day, and I always break my days up in 3 different like sections. I have a power up part of my day, which is the beginning. I have a power out, which is the bulk of my day. And then I have the power down where I kind of pivot. And just part of the bad dayness, I got to the power down kind of late. But once I got there, which I'm actually doing this podcast later than I wanted to. Just it's part of the bad day, people. But I'm actually grateful that I'm doing this in the power down. I'm actually leapfrogging an episode. I was going to do something else, but I figured I'd do it now. Or I'd at least record this episode today. Because I'm in a bad mood, or I had a bad day. And I've been in a bad mood most of the day. But during the power out phase, power down, which is the end of the day, I like to pivot and do a little bit of reflecting on how the day went. And usually with every day, you want to kind of understand how things went, but especially in a bad day, the main thing is you're trying to understand is why was it bad? I can't tell you how many people will go through a bad day or be in a bad relationship or have a bad business and not take the time to ask the question why and then follow up to try and understand it. And so there was so many different angles, and I asked a lot of questions, but I got clear on why I would call today a bad day. And some of the things I found out were preventable on my end. There were some unexpected things that happened this morning, but I didn't have to let it derail me as much as it did. There's actually some things I didn't do a really good job setting up for success the night before either. And so I could have helped myself out a lot. And so my bad day actually started last night. And then there was some misunderstanding with some people. And then I actually had those conversations today. So we got clear on the understanding. So hopefully it won't happen again. And I also changed a part of how I go about how I'm the order I'm doing some of my work in. And I think that is going to prevent this from happening again as well. And so going into tomorrow, I feel a lot more confident that won't happen. I definitely won't. Or I'm a lot more confident it won't happen again. And so it sounds simple, but you'd be surprised how many times we just let bad things happen. Even with people, like we'll have disagreements. That's a big thing with me and my wife. Like if we have a fight or we have any kind of disagreement or we're not vibing on something, we're trying to figure out like why did this happen? And those whys add up. As you really start to stack these answers, a lot of the same problems stop happening because you took the time to get some understanding. This is the part where we got to put some feet to it. Now, today's a little bit unique, okay? Now, the principle still remains, and that is smooth seas do not make skillful sailors. And so I'm going to ask you to dip into the memory bank as best you can. Maybe remember a recent bad day. Maybe had a bad week, a bad night, whatever. Anything that you can think of that has gone bad or not as you would have expected. And I want you to find the understanding in it. Why did it go bad? Why did that? It could be in the past. It could be with your ex. I want you to just exercise this investigative tool that you have as a creator of just finding understanding. Because when we allow things to go bad or sit uneasy or there just to be this turbulence that we don't address in our life and it just sits there, it almost works as like a cancer. And it'll eventually spread to other areas. But when we find the understanding, we can uproot it. We can stop it right there and keep a bad day from turning into a bad week or a bad week turning into a bad month turning into a bad season turning into a bad year. And I know there's some things that are out of our control that might be bad, right? Like the loss of a loved one. That could definitely make a bad day. There's not too much you need to understand with that. Those aren't things that happen, hopefully not often, you know? And so you can definitely look for ways to be strong through that. All of that is great. But I'm talking about more the things that you can control. And sometimes you may not be able to control what happens exactly, but you can control your response. And that's how we're trying to move as creators. So find the understanding, people. All right. Also, make sure you check out freecreatorcode.com. Get the code that it is that we live by as creators. I love you guys. Stay safe. And until next time, God first. God bless.